You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We get the dots, you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. Let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests. Marie Hyepock and Mark Schneider, Protect Our Kids. Welcome.
Good morning, Ron.
Glad to have you with us.
Wonderful to be here.
Let me remind you, if you ever have any more home or finance-related questions, again, I'm the consumer advocate looking out for you, and I am looking right now to see what are we going to celebrate. You know, it's February already. I can't believe it. 1 month down, and it seems that was just New Year's. I know we were ready to turn the clock last year, but hey, let's take a look and see what's going on. Today, National Freedom Day. Uh-oh, we better be careful with this one. Anything I say can and will be held against me. Surprise. For the rest of my life. Freedom. I mean, does that mean freedom from masks? Does that? No, only if you're Magic Johnson or Gavin Newsom or Eric Garcetti. Yeah, I don't know why he's still in Los Angeles. I thought he's an ambassador to somewhere. Maybe they can get rid of him, right? London Breed. They don't need to wear masks. I guess the rest of us peons, we're supposed to wear a mask everywhere in Calizuela. But that's just a different story. You know, did you look at the game? I noticed the game on Sunday. There was not a whole lot of people, including the governor, wearing masks. Unless you count wearing a mask from your earlobe. Does that help? Probably about as much as putting it over your face does. But that's a different story. Joni Mitchell, while we were off air, Joni Mitchell decides she doesn't want to be on Spotify. That's good. Neil Young, he's already off of Spotify. Freedom. We're still talking about freedom, right? Joe Rogan, freedom of speech. Yeah, I guess if you're talking about things that they don't want you to know about, freedom of speech doesn't count. But thank goodness Joe Rogan, that's the way of the world now, right? Spotify, they're going more to podcasting. And you get a couple of whoa, wait a second. Do we want to listen to Governor Gruesome or Joni Mitchell or Neil Young about COVID, or do we want to listen to some doctors that actually know what they're talking about? I shouldn't say that. Okay, we will move right along. Let's see what else. Oh, yes, we have got Dark Chocolate Day. Josh, do we have any wine to go with that dark chocolate? I'm not a big dark chocolate fan unless I've got some real good red wine to go with that. And yes, I do have some good red wine. I don't see any here in the studio. I'll have to correct that later. Dark Chocolate Day. Baked Alaska Day. Having beaten anorexia? Wow, I like Baked Alaska. That's another good one right there. You don't see too many places that are making it really well anymore, but if you got some good Baked Alaska, I'm ready to go. Where are you going for it? And, you know, just because we can, Josh, I'm going to throw this out there. Tomorrow's Tater Tot Day. You know, so I'm ready for that one as well. Let's move right along and see what else is going on. Do we want to take a look at what the markets are doing today? Yeah, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 29.75. The S&P 500 up 4.27. NASDAQ is up 33.24. Oil down 25 cents a barrel. Not a whole lot of meaning on that one, being that we're at almost $88 a barrel of oil right now. What does that mean for you and me? Well, in Lori's case, she's our tremendous underwriter. She's paying $3.12 a gallon of gasoline. Obviously, she is not in California. She's in Louisiana. Jody, she's at $3.56 a gallon. Josh, you're at $3.80 a gallon. You can't get below that $3.80 mark. You've been hovering right there at the flat $3.80, but you are significantly better than we are right here in the formerly Golden State. $4.64 a gallon. Ow! Yeah. Ooh, $4.60. I'm going to go to Nevada Thursday just so I can get gas. Well, maybe not. But I am going to Nevada on Thursday. That's a different story, though. Hawaii, you're at $4.39. Look at that. They produce, how much oil do their gas are they producing or refining in Hawaii? And they're cheaper than we are here in California. $3.38, that's the national average right now. $3.38 for a gallon of gasoline. Hey, let's take a look at this one. I just saw this in the articles this morning. How about housing market in California or in the U.S.? Think about this one. It's not just California, because I know we're losing people in California. And I have people battle me all the time. No, Ron, we're not losing anybody in California. Everybody wants to be in California. Well, let's just think about this one. How Money Walks. Have you ever looked at that website, How Money Walks? Yeah, I look at that one on a regular basis, and I'm going to show it. I'm going to tell you about it because I'm not going to show it to you right now. If it'll pop up on my screen, it doesn't seem to want to come up all the time. But How Money Walks, talking about $80 billion a year in adjusted gross income leaving the Golden State. Now, you want to talk about money. I know people say, well, everyone's going to California. No, not everyone. Well, the illegals are, because the state likes that kind of thing, right? And I guess New Yorkers are. $8.44 billion of adjusted gross income goes from New York to California. But Josh, you're getting $18.47 billion going from California to Nevada. Texas, 13.8. Arizona, 13.2. Oregon, 11. Washington, 10. $82.32 billion leaving the formerly Golden State. But I digress. What were we getting to on this one? We were talking actually about the concept of home. Yeah, every time you got to bring it back to the housing market every once in a while, right? So let's think about this. $10 trillion gained in housing in the last 2 years. This is a Bloomberg report. $10 trillion. Now, look at this. Austin, Texas, 41.1% appreciation in the last 2 years. Raleigh, North Carolina, 33.1%. I'm not going to give you all of them. But I will tell you right here in the formerly Golden State, San Diego, 27.3% up in the last 2 years. Josh, you're at 26.3 right there in Las Vegas. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a house, now might be a great time. And I've told you this before. I have a lot of people that say, well, you're Ron, I'm not going to buy. I'm going to wait for the crash. Well, that's what millennials say, because they only know one recession, and that was when housing prices went down. All the other recessions, well, except for one, housing prices actually go up. So the issue here is, if you're waiting, let me ask you two questions. What are you waiting for? That's one question. Right? Are you waiting for housing prices to go up, or are you waiting for the interest to go up? Just throw that out there for you. Now, we know, I've told you this before. I've predicted it. Josh has it on tape right here. Well, we don't use tape anymore, but it is recorded, right? But we know we're going to have a recession in 2023. But here's the issue. Interest rates are going up. We know that. The Federal Reserve has said that they're going to increase interest rates by maybe 5 times this year. What does that do for mortgage rates? Well, in the short term, mortgage rates have been going up dramatically. But over time, when the Federal Reserve increases interest rates, it actually gets a handle on inflation. Now, I know there's no inflation in the U.S. Just listen to the government. They'll tell us that, although those gas prices seem to say something different. But here's the issue. When they finally get a handle on inflation, mortgage rates drop. Really? So that's the idea. That's traditional, right? Because why? Well, I've told you this before, inflation and bonds, they don't get along. So when we start seeing the mortgage rates drop, what do? Well, you've got that appreciation that's been going. I just told you what's going on in appreciation. Well, you've got that mortgage rates. You can change your interest rate down. Now, I'm consulting with some high net worth individuals, and I just educate, right? I don't, Nikki takes care of the loans for us now, but I just educate. So here's the education part. High net worth individuals like an adjustable rate mortgage. They understand the markets. They like the 7-year fixed rate. And then because they know what's going to happen over the next 7 years. I don't know. They don't either. But we do know the market will change. It always changes. Might go up, might go down. Probably do both over a 7-year period. They'll just go and they'll change their loan program to a new rate, right? Do you think they're going to get a new loan for a higher rate? Not usually, but they might if it benefits them, if it's in their best interest. But they can always get a lower rate. We're going to talk about that in the days and weeks to come. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, protect our kids. How do we do that? We'll talk about it. Owning is more affordable than renting in the majority of the country, and can travel hacking hurt your credit? All that and more. You can reach me anytime or off your number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990. Nikki is standing by, ready to assist in all of your needs. What are the markets doing? Let's take a look for you this morning. So we are looking what do we have here? We've got the Dow Jones is now only up 3 points. The S&P 500 is up 0.26. NASDAQ up 8.30. What does all of that mean for you? Well, let's take a look at the bonds. That's what we follow, right? We need to deal with the 10-year Treasury up 2 basis points, 1.807. Not exciting if you're a senior living on fixed income. Mortgage-backed securities down 8 basis points. That's the bond down. It means the yield interest rate is up. But all that information is available on that super secret website, google.com. Why are you tuning in to me? That's so you can find out what's going on. Why is it happening? Well, if you're out there looking for a new job, there's 10.9 million of them available right now. That's according to the Labor Department's JOLTS report. That's the job opening report. That's as of December. They were expecting the number to come in at 10.5 million. I guess there's a little more jobs open than we thought. Yeah, I heard that Home Depot is actually hiring. If you know how to use a screwdriver, I don't. So they've got a job opening there. 100,000 jobs. They increased their number by 20,000 that they're looking for. This is a real surprise. I got to share this with you because I saw this in the report this morning. The San Francisco Federal Reserve President, Mary Daly, believes the Federal Reserve is not behind the curve on the inflation front. I used to have a sound bite on here that I think was fitting. I might have taken it off because they got mad at me. What an idiot. Right? I shouldn't say that about a Federal Reserve president, but she's an idiot. I mean, how do you, where in the world do you, oh, there it is.
Such an idiot.
They
Such
did.
An idiot.
Yeah, stop that.
Such an idiot.
Okay, so she thinks there's no inflation. I don't know where she lives. Well, she lives in San Francisco, so now I know why it's an alternative reality. Kansas City Fed President Esther George, now at least Esther George is a voting member. She's going ahead, or believes that there needs to be these rate hikes that we've been talking about, that we've been projecting. So we'll see that going forward. CoreLogic, now there's another great one. CoreLogic does a great job of reporting history. So they released their home price index report showing that home prices rose 1.3% in December and 18.5% year over year. Okay, that's up a little bit from the 18% in November. But don't forget, CoreLogic's forecast, prices will go up 0% in January and 3.5% for the year going forward. I don't know. They've been on this kick for a long time. They've been wrong for a long time. They even said last year prices were going to go down 6.6%. So we don't want to do too much with their forecasting. Phoenix, they're up 30%. San Diego up 22%. Josh is up 24%. They're in Las Vegas. Frank Nothaft, their chief economist, isn't even going to follow what CoreLogic says. He has his own forecast. It's a little better than the company forecast, so we'll watch that one a little more. Rising rent prices are out there. Apartment list showed that rents rose 0.2% in January, 18% year over year. Over the last 4 months, rents are up 1%, so it's clearly slowing down a little bit. But maybe there's some seasonal factors. You think people want to move during the holidays? That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Nikki is standing by to take your call. So let's learn a little bit. I like learning on Ron Siegel Radio. Protect our kids. That's a great thought process. I don't know if we can't leave it to the government to do that. We can't send them to school to do that. We'll find out what the idea is. Protect our kids. Mark Schneider, Marie Hyepock are with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Ron.
So tell us a little bit about what is protect our kids. I thought that's our number one job in the world as a parent.
Well, it should be. We need to take it a lot more seriously than parents have over the last few decades. Protect Our Kids is a 501c3 that was formed close to 3 years ago in reaction to the revolution, which is occurring in the public school system really for decades now, but it's accelerated in the last, I would say, 5 years, such that our children are being indoctrinated into a worldview that is utterly foreign to what America has traditionally known as American values. You know, Dennis Prager, famous radio show host, he says, I like to think of American values that you can find on any American coin. You can still find them. You can pull out an American coin. There are three things that are stated there. In God we trust, the Latin expression e pluribus unum, which means from many one, and liberty. Well, all three of those values have been turned over in the public school system. So POK was formed to
POK.
protect our kids.
Oh, okay. I'm a simple guy. Okay, protect our kids.
It works.
That works. I like that.
It was formed to inform parents about the revolution going on in our public schools and the real threats to their children and what they're learning, starting in kindergarten, but it goes all the way up through high school.
I'm going to submit that one of the only things that I've seen positive of COVID is I think parents' eyes are starting to wake up to what's going on in the school system.
You're absolutely right. In fact, it caused what we call the earthquake in Virginia.
Right.
Everybody should be familiar with what happened in Loudoun County. Parents got upset with what they were seeing.
You can't tell me what's going on in schools. Isn't that it? Isn't that what the school said? Is don't. I'm a parent. You can't. The teachers aren't going to talk to me about my kids' education.
Well, that's what Terry McAuliffe said, who was a shoo-in for the governorship, and of course he lost the election because he said parents shouldn't have any influence over what their kids are learning in public schools. And this guy that with a financial background, Glenn Youngkin, he'd never held political office before, but
where have we heard that one before?
He promised parents that he would be someone who listened to them. And he won in a landslide victory in Virginia, all because parents became aware of and took action about what they saw their kids learning in the public school system.
And from what I've seen, and I get in trouble with this one all the time because I do have family that are teachers, so I get in trouble, but that's okay. I don't mind that because it's for the better good, right? Some of the teachers I think are good individuals. They're just getting some bad guidance from above.
There's no question about that. I mean, really, teachers are on the front lines of this war to protect our kids. And there are some good ones. And frankly, Ron, there's some bad ones as well. And the ones that are good, they are really in a tough fight because they are also being impressed by the system. Their personal liberties on what they can teach and how they can teach it, what they can say and what they can't say are all being threatened.
I was listening to a podcast over the weekend while I was out walking, and they were talking about, that the idea now is we're going to get rid of grades in schools, right? We're going to go to a 1, 2, 3, 4 system of grading, getting rid of the ABC because that's oppressive, right? And we're going to get rid of the SATs, and instead of helping raise everybody up, let's see how we can bring everybody down to whatever the lowest common denominator is.
Well, you talked earlier about an exodus from California, and that is true. And aside from financial reasons, another reason why so many people are leaving California is because of the public school system and what they see as just the oppressive nature of what's been taught to our kids, including completely getting rid of the merit system. You're right about the SAT and ACT. In California universities, both the Cal State system and the University of California, they no longer use SAT to merit who's going to get into the school. So we're going to a subjective worldview. It's about what I feel, not about what's actually true.
And everybody has their own right to their own feelings, right? I mean, we can all say what we want. I feel great. I feel lousy, whatever. But how do you measure that, right? I mean, I have my team, and we're always measuring everything because how do you improve if you can't measure?
Everybody has their right to their own feelings, but they don't have their right to their own facts.
There you go.
Facts are facts. Empirical evidence is empirical evidence. And the schools, unfortunately, are de-emphasizing what is actually empirically true to accommodate people's personal subjective feelings, including their gender identification.
That seems like that always baffles me. I mean, I think you can look down and figure that out. I mean, at least, I'm not very good at science. I'm horrible at science. But that was kind of early on. You could figure those things out.
You would think.
You didn't even need a pink blanket or a blue blanket in the hospital to figure it out.
Not anymore.
You might have I don't know. Well, that's going too far. I'll get in trouble there again, but that's a different story. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. What can we do about this? How do we protect our kids? Where do we go? And, how do we make a difference? We'll talk about that. Owning is more affordable than renting in the majority of the country. Can travel hacking hurt your credit? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
We're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomedigest.com, rsrhomedigest.com. Find out exactly what the market believes about your property, what the county knows about your property. One email every month, totally free. All you have to do is visit rsrhomedigest.com. Owning is more affordable than renting in the majority of the country. If you're thinking about buying a home this year, but already pressed pause on your plans due to rising home prices and increasing mortgage rates, there's something you should consider. According to the latest report from Adam Data, owning a home is more affordable than renting in the majority of the country. The 2022 Rental Affordability Report says, quote, owning a median-priced home is more affordable than the average rent on a three-bedroom property in 666 or 58% of the 1,154 U.S. counties analyzed for the report. That means major home ownership expenses consume a smaller portion of average local wages than renting, unquote. Other experts in the industry offer additional perspectives on renting today. In the latest single-family rent index from CoreLogic, single-family rent saw the fastest year-over-year growth in over 16 years when comparing data for November each year. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of the social channels, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart right now of rents continuing to skyrocket year-over-year percentage of single-family rent growth in November of each year. And it looks like, well, like I use this one all the time, Niagara Falls, it's going, well, no, I guess a reverse. It's going straight up. Maybe it's a rocket ship. What's that one that Elon Musk has, that ship that he uses? SpaceX. There you go. Okay, thanks, Josh. Josh in the background helps me out all the time. I got these senior moments. Molly Bazell, principal economist at CoreLogic, stresses the importance of what the data shows. Quote, single-family rent growth hits its sixth consecutive record high. Annual rent growth was more than 3 times that of a year earlier. Rent growth showed continued to be robust in the near term, especially as the labor market continues to improve, unquote. What's it mean for you? While it's true home prices and mortgage rates are rising, so are monthly rents as a prospective buyer. Rising rates and prices should not be enough to keep you on the sideline, though. As the chart shows, rents are skyrocketing. The big difference is when you rent, that rising cost benefits your landlord's investment strategy, but it doesn't deliver any sort of return for you. In contrast, when you buy a home, your monthly mortgage payment serves as a form of forced savings. Over time, as you pay down your loan and as your home values rise, you're building equity. Not to mention, you'll lock in your mortgage payment for the duration of your loan and give yourself a stable and reliable monthly payment. Bottom line, if you're weighing options between renting and buying, give us a call at 800-306-1990. Let's chat about a strategy that works for you. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomedigest.com, rsrhomedigest.com. Continuing our conversation, we're chatting about our kids, your kids, everyone's kids. Protect Our Kids is the name of the organization, fighting, I love this, the sexualization of our K-12 public school children. Mark Schneider is with us. Marie Hyepock is with us. I don't know about you guys. When I was in school, I think we had one semester of sex education, and I think it was in high school.
Yeah, that's right. It was usually taught in high school biology, and it was just that. It was about human reproduction. They went into the basic details, but in terms of the discussion of the birds and bees, that's a conversation that most kids had with their parents, right?
Wow, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. But Ron, all that has changed dramatically. In fact, at Protect Our Kids, we call what's going on in the school system the triple threat.
Triple threat.
The triple threat. The first component of that threat is sexual and gender theory. So this is the idea that your sexual orientation is not in any way tied to your biology, your parts, your chromosomes. In a similar fashion, your gender is not tied in any way to your organs or your chromosomes. Last time I looked, women still had XX chromosomes and men had XY chromosomes, and those are embedded in virtually every cell in your body. And that your reproductive organs were designed a certain way to work complementary with the opposite sex. Ron, most parents would be shocked to learn that whole truth, that whole empirical biology has been overthrown in the public school system.
I thought we're supposed to follow the science.
That's what they say until it's not convenient anymore.
Okay.
Until something else comes along to turn it over. And in 2015, a law was passed in California. It's called Assembly Bill 215, otherwise known, Assembly Bill 329, otherwise known as the California Healthy Youth Act. But it's anything but healthy, because it teaches children exactly what I've just mentioned, that your sexuality and that your gender are not tied in any way to your biology, and that you get defined what your gender is. In fact, in kindergarten, this starts. Kindergarten. So kids are shown books like one famous cartoon book is called Who Are You? And if you open up the first couple of pages to it, you'll see a cartoon of a child in a basket with the caption, "Parents make a guess about their child's gender by looking at their body parts."
That's shocking.
The idea, it should be shocking. It is shocking. And that's in kindergarten. And it just gets more sophisticated in later grades, where kids are reading books like Prince and Prince, The King and I, Jacob's New Dress, all designed to convey the idea that your sexuality and gender is in no way tied to your biology.
So what is the purpose of that part of the education? I mean, I know that you need math and you need to learn how to read and you need to learn how to, well, I don't know if you write anymore because most people write with their thumbs anymore, but that's a whole, but what is the value of that part of the education? Can you come up with any logic to the value of that, or maybe the illogic of it?
Well, I think the real purpose, the underlying purpose of it, is to overturn the Judeo-Christian worldview, and it's informing our whole society. This effort has been going on some time now. In fact, just a little bit of history lesson here.
I better get my notepad out.
Well, we don't want to get too deep here, but I think it is worth bearing out here that there was a famous institution in pre-World War II Germany called the Frankfurt School. And this is where Marxists got together. Karl Marx was a key influencer of this group. And his later disciples, people like Herbert Marcuse and the famous Italian communist Antonio Gramsci, they put forward this idea that the West will never succumb to communism by force. It's just too powerful. So we have to corrupt their internal institutions, mainly starting with their school system, what kids are actually learning in schools, and then their media, and then their court system, and then the halls of government. And only that way would we be able to overturn Republican democracy to embrace socialism or Marxism or communism. And so they brought.
Well, where does that sound familiar, right? I mean, we can see that coming in our society right now.
It's happening. In fact, John Dewey, he was one of the fathers of modern public education. He came from Columbia, the Teachers College at Columbia. When World War II hit and these people had to escape from Germany, guess where they came? John Dewey invited them to Columbia University. And from there, these ideas started to infiltrate academia, our higher institutions of learning. So Brandeis, Columbia, Harvard, Princeton, all of these major educational institutions started to embrace these ideas. And it fomented for 20, 30 years. And now it's not infiltrating. It's pretty much taking over our K through 12 public education system.
Wow, it's amazing when you listen to some of these things. I mean, I watch it from afar. I don't have kids in school anymore, but you just watch it from afar and you say, so what's happening and where are the parents? I mean, I've long been a big advocate of a voucher system, right? It brings in the free market system into education, get the best teachers or who actually I can perceive as the best education for my kids. Everyone's got their own choices.
That's right.
But it kind of, you get too much money from these school unions to ever let that happen.
Well, you're absolutely right. The public school system right now is a complete monopoly. It has a lock on all education. Well over 90% of California's 6.5 million school children are captive to the public schools because they can't afford to send their children to a private school. Or, it takes two spouses to work and one to stay home if they want to homeschool their kids. And most parents in California simply cannot afford to do that. So they're locked into this hegemony of the public schools where the unions are working in concert to maintain this monopoly in the public schools. So I also am a big fan of the voucher system. And in California, as your listeners may know, there's a ballot initiative that may get on the 2022 ballot called the California School Choice Initiative, which would allow parents to have an educational savings account starting with $14,000 a year, where they could use that money to send their children to the school of their choice as long as it's accredited.
But you just got to the word that I'm afraid of.
Yes.
Accredited.
There is some concern there. But some of these accreditation agencies are really good, like the Western Accrediting Society of Schools and Colleges. A lot of them don't actually have any particular agenda, but it's certainly better, Ron, than the system that we have today.
So when we come back, I want to chat a little bit, because I know the big concern, one of the big fights will be obviously the school district and the school unions will be throwing a lot of money against that. And the question will become will the teachers be out of jobs? So maybe we can kind of address that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk about that. We'll also get a little bit Your Credit Matters, and we'll talk about, can travel hacking hurt your credit? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at RonIsMyLender.com. That's RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer, they've got the solutions. Can travel hacking hurt your credit? With the holidays fast behind us, I guess. Where did we get this story, Josh? This is from November. I'm going to have to, well, I'll look at this later. We'll just give the tout to our friends at CreditSanitizer.com. Go visit them, and we'll talk about this later. We're going to go back because I wanted to talk more about protecting our kids anyway. So Your Credit Matters segment brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. So we're chatting before the break. If you missed it, you've missed a lot, and we're not going to go over all of it. You can go back and catch it. RonSiegelRadio.com. The show will be up in the archives by about 6 o'clock this evening is when Josh and the team get those all posted for you on all the social channels and whatnot. But we're talking about the idea of indoctrinate or what's going on. It's not even an idea of what's going on. Indoctrinating our kids. One of the things that I've seen, we haven't even talked about yet here on the broadcast, I've seen going on when you look at any of the statistics, is the attendance of any kind of religious organizations or organized religion is dropping dramatically. Do you think there's any coincidence with the dropping of attendance at religious organizations, temples, churches, and whatnot, with the society that's going downward right now. I mean, I hate to say it, but the world that I grew up in is not the same world that our kids are growing up in. I mean, look at just this morning, no in-person studies or classes at UCLA. Right? Why are we dealing with those things? And I know that they have to. It's not an issue of are they doing the right thing or wrong thing. They have to do those things to protect the young people. But do you think the fact of the matter is that as parents, maybe we're not taking our kids to temple and to church, and we're not providing them with a world that maybe there's a higher being that we need to be thinking about, or responsibility, or maybe loving our neighbor, loving ourselves, those type of things? Just throw that out there for you. But let's get back to our conversation. Protect our kids. Before the break, we were talking about this potential school choice initiative, and I love that idea. I'd love to see it. But we're in California, so I don't have high hopes. I mean, not that I'm a pessimist. I am a bit of a realist here.
It's a long shot.
Right? It's a long shot because the teachers have so much money, and anything they want, they basically buy. Politicians, or it's George Soros buying the DAs, that type of thing. I shouldn't say that, but that's true. Progressive Insurance, they're not an advertiser of ours, but they are supporting George Soros, or that is George Soros' company. Should throw that out there. Just my opinion. I just give opinions. But the teachers, they're when it gets all the way down to the very base of the system, the teachers are forced to pay money to the union to spend it on things that maybe the teachers want or don't want. And the collateral damage could end up being some good teachers and teachers that really want to do well for the kids, lose their jobs. Is there any hope for them? Or are they just going to be out on the street with part of that 10.9 million looking for a new job?
Yeah, I mean, the teachers unions are some of the biggest in the country. I mean, the California Teachers Union is just an enormous organization. I think they've got a budget of, $500 million a year, something like that. And the National Educators Association is even larger, and they are in lockstep with the California legislature. And it's not just in California. I mean, this problem is now spreading across the country.
Well, listen to what's gone on for the last couple of years with New York.
Absolutely.
Right? They don't want to work.
It's all over the place. But the good news is that teachers today actually are no longer forced to belong to their state unions. They can opt out. This is a famous court decision that was called the Janus ruling, and the Supreme Court said that no, that's like compelled speech. You cannot force a teacher to join a union, particularly when they're going to take your dues and spend it for political purposes. And there are alternatives if teachers want representation in the school system. For example, there's the Christian Educators Association International. They provide all the same benefits of the California Teachers Union for a lot less cost. But you don't have to join at all if you don't want to.
But if you don't join, do you get ostracized by the rest of the?
You do. I mean, that just goes with the territory. So you might get labeled as, oh, you're one of those conservatives. You're not part of the club. So there is that. But we're living in an age, Ron, where you have to stand up for your rights. You've got to stand up for your principles. If we don't do it now, it may be too late in the future. And I think personally, if a voucher system, educational savings account, school choice initiative were to pass in California, and it is a long shot, it definitely is a long shot, but were it to pass, it would break this monopoly. And I think you would see an explosion of very creative forces putting together private schools where there would be a huge market for experienced teachers, no longer beholden to the public school system, but could now go out into free enterprise, into a situation where actually teaches kids efficiently, and not only teaches them, but teaches them what parents want them to learn, the truth about American society, not the lies they're being told today.
It's amazing to me. I have a family member that's very, very, very smart. And we're talking about, just the basics, things that we learned on the Saturday morning cartoons, right? How a bill becomes a law.
Yeah.
Right? You don't see that anymore.
No, you don't.
And this relative, I mean, I said about that, it's like a blank stare. No clue about, something going to Congress and having to pass Congress and go to the executive branch. What are the branches of government? Not even knowing those kind of things.
When I was in 8th grade, you had to pass basic civics course to go on to 9th grade, which included the U.S. Constitution. That's been
Passing a course to have to go forward?
Can you imagine that?
Wow. That would be held to some sort of a standard.
It would indeed.
And that it's baffling that, but at least now, I guess now the idea is let's teach them that they don't have to be a man or a woman.
Well, and that's just one component of the triple threat that we talked about. There are two other components to it. The second one is critical race theory.
Oh.
And this is what exercised parents in Loudoun County, Virginia, in school boards across the country when they were looking over their children's shoulders, seeing that they were being taught in Zoom classes. And critical race theory, for those that are familiar with this term, is the idea that race, one's skin color, is the key aspect of all of society. And if you happen to be light-skinned, well, then you're in the oppressor class. You are privileged and you are an oppressor. If you happen to be dark-skinned, then you are in the oppressed class, whether you like it or not. There's really nothing you can do about it except to change all of society to accommodate these differences in skin color.
Well, the challenge with that one is, I mean, when you have no leadership from the very, very highest levels of our country, I mean, when you think about it, what more racist can there be? And that's my opinion. Can it be than when you say that you've got a president comes out and says, the only ones that need to apply for the job of a Supreme Court justice is a black woman?
It's very unfortunate. And my belief has always been, Ron, that if critical race theory is going to be defeated, it's going to be led by Black intellectuals. And it's starting to happen.
Sure.
Personalities like Robert Woodson, Vodi Balcom have been doing great work. John McWhorter just released a book about wokeism across society. So there is a concerted effort by good-minded Black intellectuals and academics to turn this idea over.
So before we get too far, because we only have a few minutes left, what is the third part that you were talking about?
The third part is what we call replacement parenting. So this is the idea of the school system coming in and really acting as parents and against parents' values. It's officially known as social and emotional learning. And this is something that's been going on for years in the school system. And now whole curriculums are coming out whereby children are subjected to really group therapy sessions orchestrated by teachers to overturn the traditional Western values, the Judeo-Christian worldview, and inculcate in children this whole woke ideology.
That's amazing. That you hear about that and you start saying, okay, why? They're basically saying that as a parent, we have no rights, and I don't know, how is it? We have to, I guess it's some way of procreated. We don't know how we did that because we're not going to learn that anymore in school. And we don't have the right to teach our kids what we want to teach them. We don't have the right to get them educated. We can't ask them to excel. And now we're not going to even have the right to raise them the way we think is best.
And here's the shocking thing. In 2005, there was a famous case in California that went up to the Ninth Circuit, Fields versus Palmdale School District. And in that case, the justices basically said, you lose your rights, parent, to control the upbringing of your school children when you drop them off at the threshold of the school door. That's still good law.
Wow, I think I would stop dropping them off at school. That might be.
That's the message that Protect Our Kids is trying to get out to parents.
Wait. The message is don't drop them off at school or find an alternative education.
Find an alternative.
Okay.
Either private school or homeschooling.
And there's a lot of education that goes into homeschooling, right? To be able to do that properly. I would say that I'm not educated enough or patient enough to be educating my kids. I've got a daughter-in-law that's a teacher, and I think she's much more qualified to educate them if she's got the right curriculum to work with.
There have been a lot of studies done on homeschooling families, and it's a movement that's been growing dramatically, particularly over the last couple of years when these school board news items come out and people are learning what's actually going on in the schools. But it doesn't seem to be any correlation with the level of education of a parent and a student's success who has been brought up in a homeschool environment. Whether you're a PhD from MIT or whether you don't have any formal education, but you're focused on doing a good job of homeschooling, there are so many materials and curriculums and helps out there to help you do that. Kids thrive in that environment.
Well, it used to be, I used to recommend Khan Academy, but now that I know that it's so...
Khan Academy's great.
Is it good?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I was curious because I know that it is a Bill Gates issue, and he's got some other issues himself, so...
It's one vehicle.
Okay.
But there are thousands.
So go out there and do your job, mom and dad. Right? That's the bottom line. Don't let somebody else be the parents to your kids. Take that back. I don't have young kids anymore, but I certainly recommend, do your job. Go out there and find the school that's best for your kids. I know that we did that with our kids. We found out that's how Marie and I met, is through our kids being at a private school, Jewish guy sending his kids to a Lutheran school, right? But that was what I thought was the best solution for our kids at the time. I'm very happy with that and the way our son's grown up. So the bottom line is do your job. Don't abdicate that job to somebody else. We need to get your website or how do people get in touch with you?
You can find us at protectourkidsnow.org.
Protectourkidsnow.org. Protectourkidsnow.org. And if you didn't catch that, call me at 800-306-1990. As always, I say set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.